The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Good morning and welcome to Autism Live. I'm Shannon Penrod. We're coming to you live on this Monday morning. So thrilled to be here with you. I forget that I need to tell you the date. It's Monday, March 25th, 2024. And we're live this morning. So excited to be here. So we've got a big show planned for you today. We're going to do the jargon of the day, and then we've got two amazing guests. They're going to be joining us talking about a very special event that's coming up in just a little over a week. On Sunday, April 7th, I'm talking about, it's a performance about love and connection. The title of it is The Neurodiversity of Kindness. And the subtitle is Stories of Kindness Told Through Music, Dance, Film, Silent Presence, and Storytelling, with select stories from Rings of Kindness by Matthew J. Goldberg. This is happening at the Vista Del Mar Child and Family Services at the Gloria Kaufman Performing Arts Center, and that is in Los Angeles. And we're going to be talking more about that and why that should be of interest to all of you, even if you aren't in LA. But if you are in LA, what an amazing opportunity to be there. However, you need to RSVP very quickly. In fact, we may have missed the deadline on that, but that's okay. So excited because so many organizations are involved in this event, and we'll talk about all of that. Our guests are going to be Harri James O'Kelly. We've had her on before from the O'Kelly Lab, and also the wonderful Rabbi Jackie Redner, who we've had on before, and she is amazing. What a gift to our community. Both these ladies are. So that's going to be coming up in just a little while. Really looking forward to talking about this and how this came to be, because could we ever talk enough about kindness and talk about the neurodiversity of kindness? Please, let me get the tissues. I'm already verklempt. Okay, so we're saying good morning. Good morning, first of all, to Rodney. I love that you get your hello in right at the beginning. I'm looking forward to that on a regular basis now. We're live, as I said, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and about a dozen other sites right now. Of course, the show will podcast later on to so many different places. Our fabulous Chris Desmond is going to show you on the screen some of the different places where you can watch us live and some of the different places where you can download the free podcast. While he does that, I want to remind you that our whole mission here is to provide information and inspiration to that larger autism community, which of course starts with individuals who are themselves on the autism spectrum, but then we like to include everyone who loves those individuals, because we believe very strongly that with information and inspiration and working together on the things that we can all, we're not going to agree on a lot of things, because our community is such a spectrum, right? And so it's not necessarily about agreeing about all things. If we can agree on love and kindness, then we can accomplish all things. So thrilled myself, I identify as a pony, a proud pony. I am the parent of a neurodiverse individual, and those are the words that he has given me to use to describe our relationship. Parent of neurodiverse individual. I love it. But we welcome everyone wherever you fit yourself in that community that we were talking about, whether you yourself are the person on the spectrum or you love somebody on the spectrum. We hope that we will be able to make room for you on the couch, as they say, for you to be here with us. So we try to do all the things that we do, which revolve around information and inspiration, at no cost to you. That's been one of our driving forces in we're in our 14th year of being on the air with Autism Live, and so that has been at the core, that we wanted to make sure that there was no cost to you. Now, over the years, it's gotten rough a couple of times about how do we do this without asking for the people who are watching to pay anything. But We are constantly looking for sponsors. If you know somebody who would like to sponsor here on the show, we're happy. If it's the right partnership, we don't welcome just anybody, which is, but if missions are aligned, we welcome sponsors. We also want to point out that if you are, and as we know, most of you are listening to us in podcasts, and you are downloading the free podcast, and you are discovering that there are advertisers on a regular basis on there. And we hope that you embrace that, because that is what's making it so that it is free for you. Thank you to those sponsors. Many of you have reached out, though, and said, hey, I really love listening in podcasts, but I prefer to listen to it ad-free. We do have a version, but that does actually cost. It's totally optional, but if you prefer it that way, you can go to glo.fm/autism-live, and when you go there, they will ask you for $5 a month, or if you pay for the whole year, it's less, because we give the discount to you when they don't have to run your card every month. They charge us for that every month. But that helps to defray the cost so that we can give you an ad-free podcast. And by the way, when you do that, glo.fm/autism-live, you not only get Autism Live, but you get everything that the Autism Network does, including Ask Dr. Doreen, all for that one price, ad-free. So if that's your thing, go and do that. If you're into saving that money, we welcome you listening to us in podcasts wherever you download, and you will get those wonderful ads. So we hope that you'll do that. I do want to say that this is the last week before we hit April. And as you know, April for autism, it's so funny because I have friends that do taxes and are accountants, and they're like, oh, it's April. Do you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, April. And I hear the same thing from people who work in the autism community. We're like, okay, it's April. April's coming. And I find myself rearranging the chairs on the Titanica to get ready for April. And, we were grocery shopping over the weekend, and I was laying in stores, and my husband was like, are we preparing for the pandemic again? And I said, no, we're preparing for April. I can't get to the grocery store every day in April, or even every other day. So I want you to know we have been working, and very soon we're going to put out our calendar for April so that you'll be able to see the whole month. You know that last year I lost my mind and we did a podcast-a-thon, and we were on the air for 44 hours straight, and I'm still recovering. I'm still recovering from that. We don't need to do that again. And here was the thing about it was so much good information. If you missed any of that, I encourage you to go back in and watch some of those old shows. But we hope that this year we're going to be providing that much information. It's just we're going to spread it out over the days. So no craziness with me being up for 44 hours, because I am no longer capable of that. That's all I can say. But we wanted to bring you the same level of information, and so that's coming. So check that out. We're going to be putting out the calendar maybe by Friday of this week. You'll want to see it. Okay, so moving on, because I want to get to our guests. We like to start Monday's shows with something we fondly refer to as the jargon of the day. This is when we take on one word, one phrase, one acronym. We try to figure out what in the hey nani nani are those experts talking about. We give you first the actual definition. Sometimes, when appropriate, I will make fun of the actual definition and all the additional jargon that they spoon into it. Sometimes I have to say, I feel like the world has gotten better about this in the last 10 years. And I'd like to think that in some small way, us making fun of them helped with that. I don't know. I don't know that for sure, but I'd like to think that it did. But in any case, the definitions are not as bad. But we always move on to a working definition so that you don't have to have a degree in psychology to begin to understand not only what does this term mean, but what does it mean for you today, in your life today? How is it going to help you to be able to communicate or be a better ally or be a better teacher, whatever the shtick is that you're working on, how can it help you? I'm always of the mind of, how can we save you 5 minutes or $5 and lift you up, right? That's really what I want to be doing on a regular basis. So that's what we try to do with Jargon of the Day. You can see on the screen that today's term is expressive language. And we, of course, have revisited this many times, but we're gonna do it slightly different because the definitions have gotten a little bit better. As I looked for an actual definition, there were some that made me so heated that I just refused to show them. But I came across one that I don't dislike too much. Let's take a look at our actual definition, which comes to us from therapyworks.com. Expressive language is the output of language, the ability to express your wants and needs through verbal and nonverbal communication. It is the ability to put thoughts into words and sentences in a way that makes sense and is grammatically correct. Now, here's what I love about this definition, that it includes verbal and nonverbal, because so many of them talked about it being spoken language, and this is not accurate. Expressive language is both verbal and nonverbal. The thing I don't love about this definition, and I'm going to call it out here, not make fun of it at all, but call it out, is that it's saying, it's right out the gate, it puts this bar on it that says that it has to be able to be in words and sentences, make sense, and be grammatically correct. Well, I mean, I think that's aspirational, isn't it? And that it doesn't mean that it's not expressive if it isn't those things. And so that's what I want to call out. Of course, we always want to get to the highest level of expressive language, because if we're expressing something and it's not being understood, then, it's ineffective, right? But it doesn't mean that it's not expressive. So let's move on to our working definition. And what I said here is any form of communication or attempt to communicate with others. So if you think about this, and I'm a former school teacher, so when I think about this, I think about the little souls in my classroom and how each one of them communicates with each other and with me as the teacher. And, sometimes you would have what I used to refer to as, and there was one in every classroom, the bossy gut girl, the girl who is going to run the show. She's the cruise director for the class and has a lot to say, has an absolute lot to say. And we would say that her expressive language is high, right? In fact, she probably, the bossy gut girl might need to work a little bit on the receptive language, being able to hear and see what's being communicated and take that in. But high level of expressive language. And then, of course, you have another kiddo who's maybe not talking as much, but is still saying a lot. Perhaps that person is engaged in facial expressions, or they're doing things with their hands or their feet. I love the expert that I was listening to a couple of years ago who said we all vote with our hands and our feet. So even when someone is non-vocal, or minimally vocal, that there's a lot going on there. So expressive language, I like to think of it, though, as output. I liked that in the first definition. It's all the things that are going that way. I'm trying to communicate with someone. You walk out to the street corner and there's a traffic cop, and they're expressing a lot. Right? They're pointing and they're doing this and they're doing whatever to show it's time for you to turn and it's time for you to stop, right? That's all expressive. And I think that, it's so interesting how much our generation prizes vocal communication. When you think about the fact that so much of what happens in life is not spoken, not vocal. So much communication that happens. The vast majority of it is not spoken. But we put so much energy into the vocal because it is often the most easily understood. But is that for everyone? So we can get into big debates about that, but expressive is everything that's going that direction. And we all need to be working on being clear and being understood when we are communicating. So what does this have to do with autism? So often with autism, because the very definition of an autism spectrum disorder is that there is a communication deficit. And there are many different ways that that deficit could show up, and one of them could be in expressive language, and often is. So we can work on that to strengthen it, but it is important that we accept all forms of communication, that we are helping ourselves to learn to understand the level of communication. When I think about the deaf community and how much advocacy and how long the deaf community has been trying to get the world to see that we should be working to also understand their mode of communication. And there's a long way to go because we don't all understand sign language, right? But I do think that the autism community needs to borrow from the deaf community, which has been saying for so long, it isn't just about us. You guys could be doing some work too. As a pony, I'm constantly trying to say, how can I be a better ally? What do I need to learn to be able to understand better the many types of communication, the many types of expressive language that are coming to me from my friends and people that I've never met before on the autism spectrum. So expressive language, it is the output of communication in all the different forms, and I'll die on that hill. Okay, so I hope it is IEP season, and I know that many of you are writing in with questions about IEPs, and I love that, want to talk about that. But this is something that will very likely come up in an IEP meeting. That someone or several someones will make a comment about the student's expressive language versus their receptive language, because expressive is the output, receptive is what you take in. And as a former teacher, it is always interesting to me to find out where that, the measurement of the strengths of these two or the deficits of these two fall. Because think about this, as a teacher, if I'm going to teach someone who's highly expressive but struggles with receptive, I'm going to go about the lesson in a specific way. That would be very different, not necessarily the opposite, but very different if someone is high receptive and low expressive. And I might assign them different roles. If I'm like, for instance, if I was doing a group assignment with a group of older kids, I might assign them different roles to play to their strengths and shore up their weaknesses. When we are trying to work with individuals who are on the spectrum, we should always be mindful of where these two things are, they're expressive and they're receptive, for how we give instruction, how we give directions, how we give praise, how we make sure that the individual is safe, right? So many different things that this can come into play. It would be like going up to somebody who's deaf and just continuing to yell something behind them. If we were completely not being aware, and sometimes we are like that with people on the spectrum, that we will stand and give instruction knowing that their receptive is low. Right? Not a good plan. Not a good plan. So we can do better, we will be better. But understanding it, first of all, I think is key. And understanding that there's more than one way to communicate. Can we get the angels to sing? Okay. Well, this feeds right into the two guests that I've got here today, because these are two amazing, aware allies in the autism community. And they have gotten together with a host of other organizations in Southern California that are just known for doing great work. I'm talking about our guests this morning, Rabbi Jackie Redner and Harri James O'Kelly. I'm going to tell you a little bit about these two ladies, but they're going to be talking with us about this wonderful event called the Neurodiversity of Kindness. Stories of kindness told through music, dance, film, and silent presence. I want to know more about that. And storytelling with select stories from Rings of Kindness by Matthew J. Goldberg. This is all happening at the Vista Del Mar Child and Family Services, the Gloria Kaufman Performing Arts Center in Los Angeles. So we're going to get them in here to talk to you. But first of all, let me tell you about Rabbi Jackie Redner. She has been on the show before, and she is amazing. She's the director of spiritual enrichment and the rabbi in residence at Vista Del Mar. And she has been that for the past 17 years. She holds the title, as I said, of director of spiritual enrichment. She oversees the Vista House of Loving Kindness. If you had to have something on your resume, wouldn't we all like to? Yes, I oversee the Vista House of Love, or just the House of Loving Kindness, but the Vista House of Loving Kindness. It is a sacred, inclusive community of belonging that supports, uplifts, and celebrates Jewish individuals with autism, speaking and non-speaking, and other special needs and their families throughout their lifespans, providing them a stable Jewish spiritual home and refuge. Vista House of Loving Kindness also welcomes individuals and families from all walks of Jewish life to join in our community, their community. They welcome the LGBTQ plus community, the disability community, Jews of color, Jewish beginners and seekers, the neurodivergent, the neurotypical, the lonely, the alienated, the curious, and the open-hearted, and the friends from all backgrounds. All backgrounds. All are welcome in their house of loving kindness. She is known as Rabbi Jackie. That's how everybody knows her and refers to her. She also serves as the chaplain for Vista's residential population. This was established over 100 years ago as the Jewish Orphans Home of Southern California. Today, it's Vista Del Mar, through its myriad of specialized programs, provides a trauma response continuum of services to over 5,000 children and families in crisis annually from all faiths and backgrounds. She received her rabbinic ordination from the Ziegler School of Rabbinic Studies at the American Jewish University in 2003. Prior to that, and this is something if I knew, I forgot, she worked as a registered occupational therapist for 10 years. And she trained in process-oriented psychology, focusing on multicultural issues. She is also a certified mind-body medicine practitioner through the Center of Mind-Body Medicine in Washington, D.C., and she is a wife and a mother. My goodness. Amazing. And then, of course, Harri James O'Kelly, who has also been on our show a couple of times. She's a filmmaker, a storyteller, and a 2E education advocate. Combining film work with her passion for gifted and twice exceptional children, she released her first documentary, O'Kelly Legends 2E Behind the Scenes, which is available on Amazon, Tubi, Ovation TV, and through Infobase. Currently, Harri is creating the multimedia dance and storytelling event, the Neurodiversity of Kindness, which we're going to talk about, which will celebrate neurodivergent artists and the organizations that support these talented individuals. Out of her passion for gifted and special needs education, Harri also created the O'Kelly Lab with her family, a grassroots efforts to promote student supports, resources, and a creative solution for neurodiverse 2E and gifted individuals. Last year, she produced the storytelling fundraiser, Trauma Mama Stories. Whoo, ladies. And I could take another whole other show, probably a week, to talk about all the things that you guys are working on. But let's welcome them here, both Harri and Rabbi Jackie. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Thanks. Great to be back.
Well, we're all intimidated, as you know what, because you guys are such slouches. You got nothing going on, nothing at all. My goodness. And of course I say that with laughing sarcasm, because I don't know how the two of you have the energy, because I didn't even list all the many different things that you guys are doing. But you've got this event coming up, and I want to start by talking about that. It's on Sunday, April 7th. It's from 3:30 to 5:30 at the Vista Del Mar Child and Family Services at the Gloria Kaufman Performing Arts Center. So, Harri, I think I want to start with you. Because you have been involved. I'm so bad at pronunciations, but what's the Nes Gadol? Tell me how to pronounce that and what that is and what that's meant to you and your family.
Oh, Nesgadal is a program that Rabbi Jackie, runs, and it's at Vista, and it was a life changer for our family. I mean, that was the inspiration and the motivation for me to want to do this event, along with the Rings of Kindness book, and bringing all these community partners together, because we have so much talent, and our family gained so much from this program. I really want other families, community partners to know about it. And it's so funny that you did the jargon of the day as expressive language, because that was a big part of what my kids learned in this program, because Rabbi Jackie puts them up on stage in temple and gets them familiar with the safe space to connect with their religion. And it was just an amazing program for us, taking our family from crisis into thriving. And I can't recommend it enough.
Well, it's not often I get speechless, but I'm almost speechless because so often when people are asking the questions, they don't even start with the right assumption. But I really feel that Rabbi Jackie, you start with the right assumption, always, that these individuals are people of light. And giving them the opportunity. When I asked you for what would you like to talk about, I want to read what Rabbi Jackie wrote, because if we could just get everybody to ask this question, what a better world it would be. She wrote, "How can we create a space of inclusion which allows individuals with autism to share their light before the community?" I want to cry. "So that they and their families feel that they are an essential and necessary part of the whole as fellow humans on the human journey of life." Just that question comes from the right place. And so often the question doesn't come from the right place. So talk to me about how you got here and what you think the answer to that question is, Rabbi Jackie.
First of all, thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here with you and with you, Harri. I honestly was raised with two extraordinary parents, and they were both Holocaust survivors, and they really, my mother in particular, focused on the inherent meaning in life, the goodness in people. She survived because people helped her that weren't Jewish. And so I think part of it is this awareness that human beings are good and we need to be lifted, all of us. And I think I'm also just naturally kind of an intuitive. And so when I first started working with this community through Elaine Hall, used to be at Vista, and started our program, I met with this one young man who was so challenged and non-speaking, and I just felt like, oh, I need to sit with him in order to understand this community. And so I did, and he was, all kinds of movements and everything. And then his aunt asked him, "Do you want to share anything with Rabbi Jackie?" And she gave him this little device, and with great effort, he typed, "Will you help me to prepare for my bar mitzvah?" Mm. And I was so shocked that there was a fully intact human being inside this body that was so uncooperative. And he really broke me open, as so many of my students did over the years, to see deeply and to see beyond maybe the presentation of human beings. And I really like that. I mean, I enjoy going a little bit deeper. And so I think, particularly, I think for me, for the non-speaking, it was really, how can we bring the light of these individuals to the forefront? so that they can actually share their gifts with the community and have those gifts be received. How can we do it in such a way that they'll be received? And so we just started developing programming around that.
Well, thank you. And thank you for doing that. And thank you for recognizing that need and putting paid to it. There's so many things that I want to talk about, but I want to make sure that we talk about this event and how this came to be. Again, the event is the Neurodiversity of Kindness. It's happening on Sunday, April 7th. That is from 3:30 to 5:30. It's at the Vista Del Mar Child and Family Services, the Gloria Kaufman Performing Arts Center. So what was the genesis of this? Who wants to answer this first?
I will.
Okay.
Harri is so passionate, and she really wanted to bring an event about kindness to Vista. And I think she saw a natural connection between the stories of this book that moved her so greatly, and that her personal story is also a part of, and the kindness that happens on Vista's campus, not just in our program, but the entirety of the campus. And she spoke to me about it for months. And finally I said, okay, let's see what we can do. Let's try and make it happen.
Harri has so many gifts, and I hope you know this, Harri. You are so talented in so many different ways, but one of your gifts is persistence. And it's such a blessing because, you see something clearly and you move towards it, which a lot of people don't have that. I don't think that I have that, Harri. So I really commend you on that, because good things happen as a result of that. So for you, Harri, where did this idea spring from, and what was the vision?
Well, I think it started with, I started a storytelling class a couple of, almost a year and a half ago. And, very quickly I became part of this book, Rings of Kindness. And that prompt of looking at kindness and reading all those stories really motivated me. And I saw the connection with Vista and the kindness that was happening there. And so I wanted to bring their choir and this book together. That was the beginning. And then the Gloria Kaufman Performing Arts Center opened, and I went to that amazing event. And through the kindness of Gloria Kaufman creating this amazing space, and I was watching the dance that was happening there at their opening, and I was completely inspired. And I thought, oh my gosh, this would be wonderful to take Vista's kindness, put Gloria Kaufman's kindness, put the kindness stories from the book. And so I started pitching that to the rabbi, and we were, talking back and forth of how we could make this all happen. And we decided that no one was really combining our whole community together and highlighting the kindness, not just the talent of the artists, the dance, the writing, the singing, all of the wonderful silent presence that you're going to see in this performance that we create, that Rabbi Jackie creates at Vista, but the people that make it all happen.
Yeah.
The Shannon Penrods of the world, the Rabbi Jackies of the world, LeDan, all the different people that are at these different organizations that I've come in contact with, in gathering these performances together has been just an amazing journey. And especially at a time when so many people are feeling so down about what's happening in the world. This is really, I think, a wonderful time to have this event.
It is a wonderful time to have this event. There is this myth in the autism community that autism organizations can't play well together in the sandbox. And I find that sometimes, when people say that, it's so frustrating to me because I feel like it's self-perpetuating, the myth. when, it's not necessarily easy, but I find that with effort that many organizations can play well in the sandbox, and your event is a perfect example of this. Let's talk about some of the different organizations that are going to be there and performing, and how you made that happen.
Well, first of all, it starts with a visionary like Rabbi Jackie that literally sees what is possible. So you have to have someone that really is a trailblazer and that says, yes, I see it. Let's do it. And then you have to also be at an organization like Vista that is, it's a beautiful place, and they have this wonderful new space where we can kind of make these things happen. So you kind of have to have, it's kind of like the perfect storm. You have to have everything kind of fall together. But there's so much talent out there. I had been watching Spectrum Labs, videos, and so I basically went out and kind of talent scouted what what was out in our community, and then went to them and then pitched like the idea of what we wanted to do. Like for Spectrum Lab, I pitched a film about kindness with their students. And then we had one student that we wanted to develop something else that goes into a stage show. I've talked to other groups, like the Buglehorn group has a dancer that's coming. Straight Up Abilities has, we have, I think, 3 different dance people that are dancing from that. It's just going into the community and going to their classes and seeing their talent and meeting the people that are making it happen has been an incredible journey for me. And looking for art, I went to the Exceptional Children's Foundation. I was just shocked. I spent 2 hours looking at art and hanging out with their artists, and I was just completely inspired. So we have a lot of talent, and it's really exciting, and I think everyone's going to really enjoy the show. So I hope you will come. I know that the RSVP date has already happened, but I know you can still RSVP.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And where do they RSVP to?
I think on the flyer.
I've got that. So, but they can still do it there, even though the date has passed?
They can do it there.
Okay, so you go to Lauren Schwartz at Vista Del Mar, and I'm going to spell that for those of you who are listening. Lauren, LORENSCHWARTZ at Vista, VISTA Del Mar, DELMAR.org. So Lauren Schwartz at vistadelmar.org. Send that email. But if they have questions, they've been told on the flyer that they should reach out to you, Rabbi Jackie, for questions. Is that still
true? My number at Vista is 310-836-1223, extension 209, or you can reach me at Jackie Redner at vistadelmar.org. Okay.
And so this performance, there is no ticket price, is that correct?
This is a free event. Of course, we welcome donations, but we really just want everybody to come and enjoy. This is also happening in Autism Celebration Month. So we just really want the community to gather, to come onto our campus. Our Vista Del Mar residential choir for kids that aren't necessarily on the autism spectrum, although some are going to be performing. Some of our Vista Del Mar staff are going to be performing. We have extraordinary talent. Our kids, all people need a chance to shine. And I think the people that are going to be performing are those that don't normally get the opportunity to really lift up the community and be lifted by the community at the same time.
And we also have Danny Mason's going to be there. There's just all these different organizations that are going to be there. We're going to have resource tables where you're going to be able to come as a family and find out about, other organizations that you might not have known about. So I would say to just come and enjoy the presentations and just celebrate all of these wonderful artists that you're just going to flip. It's just going to be so, you're just going to be so amazed. I'm so amazed. I can't wait to see the show.
I think it sounds absolutely wonderful. Now, I've got to ask the question because I know somebody is thinking, if not asking the question, that this is, a Jewish community event. And somebody is thinking, well, I'm not Jewish, so does that mean that I should not come? I already know the answer, but I'm going to let you tell them, Rabbi Jackie.
So this event is not a specifically Jewish event. Vista House of Loving Kindness has many ways of working with the larger community, whether it's bringing in people to volunteer or through our mind body medicine workshops that we offer, creating special rituals, not just for the Jewish community, but for other individuals who wish to do that. We are a resource and we are open to everybody. This event in particular, while it does highlight some of our students from our Nes Gadol program, which means a great miracle, most of the people that are going to be performing are, I don't know if they're Jewish or not, but that's not an important part of this event. And truly, while Vista Del Mar began as the Jewish Orphans Home of Southern California, most of the people we serve today are not Jewish. This is the program I run is kind of a niche program. And so I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, and I just want to say to folks that there is something truly amazing about the Jewish community and how the Jewish community is inclusive on every level.
Thank you so much.
Inclusive of that, not saying, well, you must believe this in order to attend this event, but also inclusive in terms of people who are seeing the world in a different way, either because of disability or because of neurodiversity or what have you. That as a non-Jewish person, I was always amazed after my son was diagnosed with autism with the love and kindness and outreach and help and support that came from the Jewish community at large, knowing that we were not a part of the Jewish community. Allies, always, right? But I don't identify as being Jewish. So, but they were allies back to us in a way that I should have known, but that for instance, getting a Jewish free loan when we couldn't pay for our school gave us services, but said, you have to pay for them first and then we'll reimburse you. And I had no way to do that. And the only people that would give us a loan was the Jewish Free Loan Association. Just saying. One of the many different ways that we were embraced and with loving arms. So if that was your question, if you were thinking, but I'm not Jewish, I want you to run, not walk. I want you to run into the arms of the Jewish community to feel the love that you will feel. And in particular, what you have done at the Vista House of Loving Kindness is epic. It's like you took what other people were doing and put it on steroids, Rabbi Jackie. I would love it if you would tell our viewers some of what the Vista House of Loving Kindness does.
So, we move from a programs model to a community model. So Vista House of Loving Kindness is really kind of an umbrella community that, really wants to uplift the entire Jewish community and in particular families with children with autism. There's always this, a little bit of tension. Are we a segregated community? Are we, fully inclusive community? And we try and walk that line with a lot of sensitivity and really create a space for anyone who wishes to join us to be there. So, we do life cycle events and creative rituals, whether that's like a funeral or a bar mitzvah, or someone wants to do a coming of age celebration and they're not Jewish. We would welcome that. We have a Jewish education program, and experiences. We do tutoring for B'nai Mitzvah, learners of all abilities and all ages. Many people on the autism spectrum or with other disabilities didn't have the opportunity to have a bar mitzvah, and sometimes their grandparents didn't for other reasons. And so we welcome all of that, weddings, everything that has to do with the important events in people's lives. We do community gatherings. We've had dances, and maybe there's a Jewish, like we just did one for like a masquerade ball for the Jewish holiday of Purim, but it was open to everybody. We do high holiday services. Those services are attended by our Vista Del Mar staff who are not Jewish, our residential choir who are not Jewish, friends from all backgrounds, and then of course the Jewish community and the Jewish disability community. We do other holiday celebrations. We do work in the community, sharing acts of loving kindness. For example, we have the Blessing Exchange where we go monthly to senior centers to provide Shabbat programming. We do spiritual counseling, and then of course we do mind-body medicine skills. We really want to be a beacon of light and love in the entire community. We have extraordinary staff, and under the leadership of Lena Wilson, this light I believe is growing, and I'm extremely grateful to her leadership and providing space for all of us to continue to grow and deepen and understand our connections with each other.
Well, you are a beacon of light and hope in the community. I also want to say, too, I know that that's not what this talk is about, but I want to say that not only is this organization here and supporting everyone in the community, and that it's important to go to the event if you can, so that you can be supported, but I also think for all of us, it is important for us to continue to support this organization and other organizations like this for being a beacon of hope and light and standing up and speaking and sharing what this message is and being positive about it. That is critical and important that we all practice that. So Harri, I want to know a little bit more about what you have planned, because you've told us it's this the rings of kindness, but I have no idea. Are we talking performance art? What? I know you're going to do good storytelling, but give us a taste of what it is we're going to see that you are directing.
Well, I want to reiterate that Lena Wilson is amazing. That was like the point of saying yes. And when we were pitching this, and I was, wanting to create this, it's like not everyone would say yes. And that's another just wonderful thing about Vista. It's like they're large enough and kind enough and have the vision and been around enough to go, yeah, let's make this happen. So that was really wonderful. We're going to pull stories from the Rings of Kindness that fit into the inclusion. There's some really great stories that you're going to hear. One of the stories is very personal. It's a story about my daughter who had a liver transplant. So when we came into this community, we were really in crisis. And you'll follow kind of our journey of going from crisis to thriving. And it's with the help of Rabbi Jackie's program and what Vista Del Mar has given to our family. We were one of those families that didn't have a Hebrew naming when our child was born because we didn't know if she was going to make it. And we did that later in life with Rabbi Jackie and have done so many other things in this program that have just strengthened our family. So we're probably like the poster child for Vista in a way of how wonderful this program has been and just helping our family stay connected to the Jewish religion when we were so fragile that it was really, so hard to just stay connected to each other. So there's that personal journey, but there's also wonderful dance in this. There's the wonderful singing from the choir that are so talented. You're going to just be so inspired by that. And it's just combining different organizations. We have the USC Gloria Kaufman's dance program working with Ballet for All Kids. We have, the Buglehorn doing a dance piece to someone from Spectrum Lab, doing another acting piece. So we're trying to combine the art. The art that we found is amazing, and that will be integrated throughout the whole show. It's really about seeing the talents that our community has and showing that it is valuable and that we can create programs with these individuals in the entertainment business as well. So it's a showcase. It's a showcase of amazing talent. And I'm hoping that when people come, they will see that they can take people from our community and hire them, and they're employable. And you're also going to see someone that's a veteran, like Danny Bowman, who has Danimation, and will expose families to her program and her amazing animation. So there'll be movies, there'll be dance, there'll be singing, there'll be storytelling, there'll be art, amazing art. So I hope everyone will come and find an organization that possibly will support them in making their dreams come true.
Well, this is the kind of event that you go to and your battery gets recharged because you see hope and you see progress and you see true inclusion and love. And the name of part of the show is the neurodiversity of kindness. What an amazing thing. So again, that's April 7th, you guys, from 3:30 to 5:30. You do need to register because there are light refreshments being served. And so I'm sure they want to know how many people are going to be there. You really need to RSVP as soon as possible to Lauren Schwartz at vistadelmar.com. It's on the screen right now. Lauren Schwartz at vistadelmar.org. But we're running low on time, but I wanted to give both of you just a little bit of time to talk about outside of this show the things that you guys are doing. And so, Harri, talk just a little bit about the O'Kelly Labs and what you guys have going on, for as if people have never heard of you before, in case somebody's watching for the first time.
Well, the O'Kelly Lab is a grassroots effort by our family, and of course, it's we're mostly about mentorship. So this program is an example of exactly what we do. We come up with ideas and then we make them happen. And in the process, we give opportunities to people that are on the spectrum to learn, to stretch, to grow. And so this is a perfect example of using something in the arts and putting people in places where they can grow, whether it's learning about producing or directing or writing. Like, for example, we went into a class at Spectrum Lab and we were filming with them, and we were basically the mentors for their students. And we saw one student that had directing skills. And I turned to her and I said, "Why don't you direct all of these interviews?" And she did. And it was amazing. And that's exactly what we want to do. We want to take what we know and help these students get one step further along in their journey. So it's mostly, inspiring mentorship with the arts.
I'm dying to know which student that was. I'm guessing I know who it is.
It was Annie. She's not in the movie because she was, doing the interviews. She's amazing.
I know Annie. Annie's amazing. So, and then Rabbi Jackie, tell us a little bit, as if somebody's never heard of Vista Del Mar before, what they might be interested in and where they would connect and how they would connect.
Okay. I wanted to just say one thing about the silent presence too.
Oh, I definitely wanted to talk about that too. Yes.
Yeah. So can I just go back to that for 1 minute?
Yes.
And because I think part of that is pauses between the extraordinary acts that are happening in order for people to really take it in, and to be in a place of receptivity and openness, so that it's not going to be like a bombardment. It's uplifting because it's including the whole body. And so I wanted to just tell you that. Vista Del Mar is an amazing organization. We have a new autism center that's overseen by Dr. Josh Durbin, who is bringing his philosophy from Israel and working with families. We have autism programs in our school. We have a high school on campus. We work with unaccompanied minors in our ORR program, which is the Office of Refugee Resettlement. We are developing a drug and alcohol treatment center, which will have inpatient and outpatient services. We have foster care and adoption services. I know we have something called Wraparound. We have a mobile crisis unit that goes out into the community that works with families and children in crisis. We have a doctoral psychology program on our campus through Rice Davis. We have 2 residential units for foster youth that come to us for all kinds of reasons, usually related to trauma, but they come to us through Department of Family and Child Services or the Department of Mental Health or the juvenile justice system. It's really and I'm sure I'm missing people. And then there's all the support staff that help that. I mean, I think Vista employs like over 500 people to do the good works that it does. And it is and has always been a beacon of light in the community. It undersells itself, and it is a joy and pride that I feel to work there and be part of such an extraordinary vision. So I hope that answered that question for you. And then our Jewish program, which is a niche program, because we are a state funded facility and nonprofit agency. So this is Vista House of Loving Kindness. It's part of Vista, and but it's a niche program.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I've heard you tell that before, but each time I hear something different. And I don't know how I didn't know that you have a foster and adopt program, and wished I'd known that 15 years ago, because we were looking at fostering, adopting, and we were working with somebody, and it didn't work. And so I wished I'd
come back.
Well, I don't know that I'm in the place now. There's a lot of snow on the roof, but I'm gonna take that under advisement, and maybe. Anyway, you're 2 amazing women, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you and say how much I'm very emotional today, but it's very appreciated what you're doing. And I love knowing when I put my head on the pillow that there are people like you who are doing what you're doing, ladies, because it's critical and it's important. And, this event is bringing together so many different people to spread joy and kindness. And did you hear the part about it's free? There's no cost to you. And if you're looking for something to do and you're in the Los Angeles area, please make sure that you go to this so that you will be uplifted and that you will see so many things that will bring you hope and joy. It's the Neurodiversity of Kindness on Sunday, April 7th from 3:30 to 5:30. Get yourself and your family there if you can. Now, if you're not in the Los Angeles area, I hope that this has ignited a fire in you so that maybe you are someone who will be the Harri James O'Kelly or the Rabbi Jackie in your area. Maybe you will feel that inspiration that, hey, if they can do this, maybe I can do this. And maybe it will look slightly different, but you could do a neurodiversity of kindness or something else like this in your area. It's the power of one, in this case, the power of 2, and I'm sure many more who helped you guys to do this. But thank you. It's such a beautiful thing that you're doing.
And
Thank you so much.
Let me just say one thing. If you don't RSVP and you just show up, you will not be turned away. At the same time, it's really helpful to us for the safety of Vista. And for the family and the children that live there, that you RSVP ahead of time if you can. But come, that your presence is important.
And I also want to say, if you are not able to go, there are other ways to support. You can make donations to the event. You can make donations to Vista. I don't know, but you probably can make a donation to the O'Kelly Lab, I'm thinking, or participate or be a sponsor. And sometimes people say, yeah, I don't have the ability to do that. You have the ability to spread the word. Sometimes it's that you share the post, share the interview. You don't know where it can go to. So, but put loving kindness into whatever you do to let others know about the loving kindness of this. Let's send everybody home with that homework. Find a way to spread the kindness in one way or the other. We're out of time, ladies, but I've so enjoyed this time with you, and I think it's going to be an amazing event, and I'm proud to know you both.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you
for all
so
the work
much,
you
Shannon.
do. You're so great.
Well, thank
Just
you.
great.
Mwah. And
Thank you so much.
take care, you guys. Bye-bye. I just want to say, because we're out of time, we are back tomorrow with a live show with Dr. Doreen Grampichet. We will look forward to having you guys there. Then I'm waiting to hear back from somebody about that. I think I know who our guest is for Wednesday, but I'm waiting for the confirmation. But if it's who I think it is, it's going to be really amazing. And then we're going to get into our April programming, which I'm going to tell you more about tomorrow and Wednesday, because I think by the end of the week we'll have to put out the calendar for the month, because when we come back this next week, this time, this place, we will be in the April, my friends. We will be in the April. And here at Autism Live and Autism Network, we call it the 3 A's. It's autism awareness, acceptance, and action. The 3 together. And if you can come up with more A's, we can put more A's together with it. Anyway, I'm so happy to be here with you guys. So happy to have had this time with you. Thank you. And we'll see you tomorrow. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much. See you next time.